Boruto episodes 98 and 99, The Cursed Forest, and Jugo and the Curse Mark. So with these two episodes, of course, being the start of this new arc that we're going on, which who knows how long it'll end up lasting, figured I would just do the review for both episodes together instead of doing, one a piece. I actually like both episodes. It was pretty fun, especially the first one. I was like, all right, I'm super excited. This is really cool. I'm happy about this episode. I like the action of it. I like the fact that, Jugo has made a return. So now he has like a new super insane version of the Curse Mark, because I was like, when he first showed up, I was like, that looks like Jugo, but he didn't have like all these extra advancements where he's like punching into the ground, and then he has like a piston on his on his elbow that allows him to like crack through the ground and stuff. And I was like, this is interesting, what's going on here? And obviously it's a Curse Mark, so I was like, oh, that's interesting, it looks like Jugo. It ends up being Jugo with this crazy transformation that he has, and we find out that he's actually saving all these birds and stuff because he's absorbing the Curse Mark into himself. And that's, of course, what causes him to go on the rampage, which is probably why it looks different. I don't know if they'll specifically go into that or if it's just like, yeah, we just made up a new one. But it's a different type of Curse Mark. It's kind of like, it's almost like a chain whip sort of deal. So it's kind of pointed, but they're, just going in a line. And so I was like, all right, this is pretty interesting. The first guy that got attacked, he ends up being infected with the Curse Mark, that transferred from the bird. And I was like, all right, this is a weird episode. I like what we're seeing. So we have Team 15, of course, Team 7, Konohamaru leading both. We see him do the Rasengan, of course. And I was like, all right, it was a fun episode. I was like, oh, there was a decent amount of action in it. Very cool to see, a character return with Jugo, and then it's like this new version of his character, and it's like, well, what in the world is going on here? We see that he absorbs the Curse Mark, and then that's what causes him to transform into like the killer version of himself. And I was like, okay, I like the idea of this, I like where it's headed. And then episode 2, especially by the end, kind of really kicked off what this arc is going to be about, which is someone somewhere is able to manipulate Curse Marks and make new ones, because if it was Orochimaru, they would have known that it was him, because they've not only got him under, lock and key, like he's guarded 24/7, but also Jugo, being the character that he is, he's actually like this weird middle ground character where he started off, he was technically on the side of the villains, but he was like the peaceful guy within that group. So it would be interesting to see, excuse me, to see what they would do if somehow this ended up being Orochimaru, but I feel like it wouldn't be. It's just like, it almost seems like he's past that point where he just does random stuff to attack villages. He's got Mitsuki. That's like his ultimate experiment now, is like having a child. So I don't think, it's going to have anything to do with him. And then we have like these two kids who have the little collars, and they like flick a switch and it turns on the Curse Mark for them. And they have like the lines going up their faces and stuff. And I was like, okay, this is really interesting. Someone's involved, and it seems like a giant organization, because of course when the kids as well as Jugo end up running into these random people, they're like, oh, we're from this village and we were sent out to investigate the birds. And so it's like, oh, well, cool, we'll give you some extra information if we find anything out. And Jugo actually hid away from them, and then of course they spot him by the end of the episode, so they know what's going on and they're a part of whatever's happening, where they're the ones setting off this Curse Mark and testing whatever it is that they're actually testing. So I'm looking forward to some answers. We got episode 100 coming up. Who knows if they'll do anything particularly special? Like, they already did it, and it was kind of funny. In the first episode, when they had Konohamaru actually fighting against Jugo, it was like, well, man, this is super freaking sweet. Like, I thought that was fantastic. I was like, they should have probably saved this just to have something special, like, for the 100th episode. But I was like, man, that's such a cool fight sequence. And, like, he throws the... I actually don't know the real name of those things, because you can't call them kunai because you don't throw them, and they're not, they're not exactly knuckles, but the knuckles with the kunai attached with the blade on them. He flicks it in the air, then he like kicks it through Jugo's mouth and stuff, and he hits, he does the Rasengan to take him down, and it was just entertaining. I was like, this is pretty cool, and I love the animation for it, and they're, flipping and flying all over the place. And it was like, this is, the type of action you want to see. It was like, kind of that loose art style animation. And it was a really cool, really cool looking fight scene. I was like, this is awesome. And they're doing like flips and, mostly Konohamaru was like spinning and stuff and, kicking the blade. I was like, this is pretty sweet. And then it ends. And, after that, it's pretty much just the kids kind of going on the run whenever Jugo transformed. It was like, like, we got to get out of here. Or, of course, Boruto being the main character, he's like, we have to help him. And it works. And it was super easy, which I thought was interesting. Like, even during that scene, I was like, I didn't realize that, they had the cure on them again. And I was like, well, of course they can't fight him. Like, that's utterly ridiculous. And then it's like, we have to help him. And then all he does is just, like, slide under him. And then it's like, boom, I got you. And you're cool. And I was like, well, that was actually super easy. Like, there's, because I probably was half paying attention. I probably just forgot that they had another dose of the cure. But I was like, well, yeah, that, of course that's the easy plan. Like, why wouldn't they agree with that idea? Like, he can do shadow clones, which I was surprised he didn't. Like, he literally went in like the dumbest way I think he could have, but it ultimately worked. And I was like, well, he's got shadow clones, and once it gets to the point where all they're doing is curing them, I was like, yeah, that actually is super easy. Just dodge and boom. It's not like they're actually trying to survive. It's like getting one hit in. So it ended up working. I was just like, oh yeah, I guess if that was it, then there wasn't much of an argument. There really wasn't much reason to be scared. They spent more time talking. They could have just done it while he was like half transformed, because he couldn't do it himself. And it was like, well, just hurry up a little bit. But yeah, it was still entertaining all the way through personally for both of these episodes. And now I'm excited to see what they end up doing with these two kids. And so it's like, all right, well, let's see how this ends up playing out. If I'm not mistaken, they're actually dealing with Team 15. I can't remember how things ended. I actually watched the episode like days ago. I just didn't end up getting to do the review until now. But I was like, all right, let's see what they end up doing. We'll see what happens with Team 15. I don't know if they're gonna go through the process of showing Namida having more control over her abilities, but we did get to see Nue. He helped out Boruto in the beginning, so I thought that was kind of cool. But we'll see what happens with these kids. I'm excited, and I'm hoping that the kids are the start, and that there's gonna be, and normally there is, you have to have like one singular villain, like the main baddie. So I'm sure we'll get to see that happen. If not in the next episode, then I would assume, soon after, because I don't think they're going to end this. And I feel like this has to be like the next arc. And it would be very interesting, considering it's the curse mark. You brought Jugo in. This feels like something that could at least be a cool, filler arc. It could be crappy. I would hope not. But considering the way it started, I say this started stronger, than the last arc. The last arc I thought ended really well once they finally got to the village. It was like, well, this is super cool. And this one I think started fairly strong. It's like, all right, we don't really know what's happening. They figure out stuff with the curse mark. Jugo is there with his crazy transformation. Then there's like a secret organization that's trying to track down Jugo. Maybe they're trying to extract the cells from his body so they can make even stronger alternate curse marks, whatever they're doing there. So there's a lot of potential to this, and the curse mark's always very entertaining. It's always this really weird thing. It's a crazy, insane power buff. It also allows for them to do some fairly sweet designs depending on the route they go with it. So we could see some good stuff from this arc if it does end up being like a full filler arc, which I assume it is, because like I said, you bring in Jugo and you bring in just the element of the curse mark, even if technically Orochimaru is no longer involved. That's still a big thing. It's like, well, who was able to get this technology from Orochimaru? How did they figure this stuff out? So there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of things that they can do with that. So I'm hoping this goes into like a pretty decent arc, for this season, or however they're chopping it up, because technically we still have the opening from the last volume or from the last season, and it's just like that whole time, nothing. The whole opening was just like nonsense, because I always thought that that's what they were leading up to with that last story arc. And I was like, there's no giant. I mean, they fought the snakes, but I was like, I don't think that's what that's supposed to represent. It was like a giant dragon-looking thing, and then they have like the Sand Village kids come in to help them, and I'm like, and I mentioned this a few episodes back. I was like, are they just gonna keep that opening until it matches what happens in the show? Because we should be getting a new one fairly soon, and that'll probably be our new thing. Is that once episode 100 hits, it'll be a brand new opening. So that would be a nice surprise. Hopefully, the song will be cool. I actually like the song that we have right now. The opening I feel is decent. But I'm excited, see what we get for a new song. Not the biggest fan of the ending song right now, so I totally wouldn't mind if that changes. I'm just like, it's just not really that cool. But we'll see what happens going forward. But I definitely enjoyed these two episodes. The action has been good. The story's actually been pretty decent, and I'm curious where they're gonna go next, because it's like, well, like I said, curse mark stuff, but it's not Orochimaru. So then it's just like, well, what the F is going on? I doubt Kabuto will be involved, but that would be pretty cool if someone was able to get the info from him, by mistake, something crazy. But I would love to see what they end up doing with this story arc. So I'm actually pretty excited. I like these two episodes. Of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about them. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it. And of course, with them going into a story arc, hopefully involving, the curse mark and Jugo and stuff like that, what would you guys like to see? I don't think they'll bring in Orochimaru to like, actually help them, which I think would be kind of cool, but I don't think that'll really end up being the case where Orochimaru actually comes in. Considering what they're doing with Jugo, where it seems like he's really doing his own thing, I don't think we'll see, the rest of Team Taka, pop up either. Like, we won't see Kani, we won't see, Suigetsu. Obviously, Sasuke won't show up. But it would be cool to see them, especially Suigetsu. Kani, I don't care about her. But Suigetsu would be cool because he's just funny and I like his character. But we'll see what happens. And like I said, I would love to know what theories you guys have for where they might be headed next, and what you just want to see in general. For me personally, I just want them to have a cool final villain for the arc, and I think the Curse Mark, like I said, when they do the designs and stuff, and I feel like they did a good job with Jugo, upgrading his design, because it's reminiscent of his old style, but it's like a super upgraded version, because it's like he's super shielded. And there was one part where he did something insane where like one of his arms like came stretched out. There's something crazy happened. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was like something extra, and I was like, well, that's unique. We haven't really seen that one before. So hopefully we get some cool stuff. So far, the look for the kids was nothing. It was like they just had lines on their face, and I was like, that doesn't even look cool. But hopefully, we'll get like a big bad, and they'll have like a cool design, or the curse mark will just look sweeter on them. It won't just be like three sharp lines, like Wolverine is like clawing their face or something. But I'm looking forward to where we're headed for episode 100 and onward. But like I said, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this one. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.